I do so love it when our children lead in worship. Today, we're going to talk about the sower. And we have these pieces to help remind us. And in every single time that we walk into the sanctuary, we have this beautiful stained glass piece to help remind us. So as our congregation chose this piece, it must have much meaning for us. Parables have so many layers, and I feel like our whole life long, we are trying to pull back the layers and understand more deeply who God is and what God is calling us to. So today, in this huge parable with so many layers, we're going to talk about a small piece of the puzzle. We're going to think about the sower, just the sower. I was thinking about what it looks like to start a garden. And during the pandemic, my family started a garden. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to really study the sun charts and where the sun will be in the spring and the summer and the fall so that you know exactly where you're going to get all the sunlight that your plants need. And then you also have the opportunity to test your soil and send it off and see what the pH is. See exactly what you need to put in your soil so it will give the most produce. Well, I've already shared with you in years past that I do not have a green thumb. I think my thumb is black. But as we did that at our house, we didn't study all the things. We thought we had a good plan, but we forgot that there's this one tree that's really kind of in the way. So we did a decent job of preparing, but not a good job. When I think about the sower and how the sower sowed on the path of compacted earth where it sat on the top and the birds came to eat it, I wonder, how is that beneficial? And then I think about the sower continuing to just sow seed. And some fell on the rocks, and not much comes of that. And the sower keeps on sowing into the thorns. And they get a decent start, but those thorns are powerful, and they're already established, and it's hard for them to get those little seeds to get anywhere. And the sower keeps on sowing. And then something great happens. The growth begins. And they keep growing and they keep growing until there's so much abundance that it's time for the harvest. And there's so much that it just keeps expanding. If we think about God as the sower, I wonder what God was doing. Is God just a reckless farmer? Whatever. Some can go here, and some can go there, and it'll do what it'll do. I don't know. I think the God who put us on this earth and created all things probably wasn't reckless, probably wasn't just not caring. I think the God who made us, was giving out of abundance, out of all the goodness, right? There's enough for the birds, and there's enough for these rocky places. I don't know if you've ever been hiking, but I'm always amazed at what can grow out of some rock. And there's plenty that can find a way to do something out of thorns, even if I don't know what to do with them. God gives so much. And so God puts seed everywhere because we don't have to know what comes of it. God's good news is for everyone. It makes me think about another parable. The parable from Matthew 20, where the workers, the vineyard owner, goes out to get some workers and says, hey, before sunrise, I need you to come work, and I'm going to pay you this amount today. And they go work. And then the vineyard owner goes back out at 9 and says, I need some more workers. Come work, and I'll pay you this amount. And they go work. And again at noon, I need some more workers. And they go work. And at 3, they do it some more. And at 5, get some more workers and sends them out into the fields. And what does God do? We're told that the vineyard owner pays them all the same. God keeps working out of abundance. There is enough. What God is doing is what needs to be happening. God is working in and among us. When Jesus was preaching the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5, he said, God makes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. God doesn't say, oh, you're going to get some, but you're not. God gives abundantly and freely. So, Roger, you said that you're the sower, right? I wonder if we are the sowers as well. Because remember, parables have many layers. So if we might be the sowers too, what can we take from that, from what we see about who God is? God gives out of abundance. And so I wonder if maybe how you are sharing the good news of Jesus is intentional. I wonder if maybe in your workplace, you might share the good news of Jesus by learning about people and knowing their struggles. And in your everyday conversation, speaking about what you know about who Jesus is. Not in a way that feels overbearing, but flows out of the abundance of who God is in your life. I wonder if at school, maybe you're going to befriend someone who's having a hard time, or pay attention to those who are being bullied because they need the love of Jesus too. There is so much that God has given. Seeds everywhere. The good news of Jesus everywhere. And we are invited to do the work of the kingdom. So, I invite you to do some reflecting on what you might do to sow seed, whether you see it to harvest or whether you just see it fall on the path and it fills the birds' tummies. Where can you share the love of Jesus in your life?